Hello, viewers. Welcome again to today's CRE Made Easy by Mr. Nyabaru. Most of you have requested me to repeat or take you through what is found in paper 1 and paper 2 in CRE so that they can know how to prepare their students. Let me start with paper 1 today so that you can know what is found in paper 1 so that when you're taking your learners through or the learners who are watching this video to know which areas to focus on when they're waiting for paper 1 or they're waiting for paper 1. In question 1, it contains two set of questions which are found in Form 1. That is Introduction to Christian Religious Education and the Bible. And also question 2, in the same question number 1, another area is the creation and the fall of man. The Bible has so many areas to cover in, which again we'll talk later when I'll be taking through question per question. Then now when we come to question number 2, we look at two areas, that is Abraham and also the covenant, that's Moses. So those are the two areas which we need to look at there, so that when you talk about the story of Abraham, their faith and God's promises, you need to talk about, describe the background, look at the promises God gave to Abraham during his call, then talk about importance of faith, acts of faith which has been tested not once but many times there. Then again, you have to demonstrate to the learners there how Abraham demonstrated his faith in God. Remember there when he was willing to sacrifice son, and then the lessons Christian learn out of it. Not only that one, in that area there, we have talked about the covenant, which is found in the same topic, and also we look at those the covenant between God and Abraham, so that if you talk about that areas, then God continues to give more promises to Abraham in that covenant. That is not the end of question number 2 in paper 1, because also we have Moses. Remember a covenant, that's Moses there. We talk about the background, most important, the call of Moses. That one has been tested not once, not twice, many times. They are giving, describe the call of Moses, giving 8 marks. So your learner or your student or the teacher, when you're taking the student free, make sure they just stick to Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 up to 22, so that they cannot bring the element of Exodus chapter 4, where God demonstrated to Moses how he can believe in him, where he used the element of snake and also the rod which he was carrying. That one is not necessary there. Then from there, the 10 plagues, you look at that one there. Then the lessons learned from the 10 plagues. Remember, that is a question which was tested in 2016. Those plagues, people may think they don't come, but also they are tested in that case there. Then again, how God took care of Moses and the Israelites during the wilderness. Again, those 40 years, there are so many things which God took, the breaking of the Sinai covenant. We have the renewal, the making there. Take the learners through that one, because like in the making and the renewal, students tend to have the problems, but make sure you take them through that one there. And then in the renewal, remember, most of the time we normally emphasize on the conditions given. There is a conditions which God gave after the renewal of the Sinai covenant. Remember the breaking, that to come together, God forgave them, and then he set rules which they were to follow there. Then we finish by a new understanding of Israel. After now, those things that they understood God in a different way. That marks the end of question number 2. Paper 1 again, question number 3, it is testing on two areas. This is leadership in Israel. Remember, after settling down, these people had seen what their neighbors were doing. They were also so eager to have also leaders. So you have to look at the background. The kings, the first king in Israel, that's King Saul. Reasons why were they demanding for the king in Israel? reasons against kingship, and then the lessons learned from the failures of Saul, because it didn't end well. Because at the end of the day, we are seeing God was disappointed by Saul because of some of the things which he did. After finishing from there, David again was anointed. We look at the achievement of David, qualities David demonstrated, which leaders need to pick from David. There is so many of them. Then after David, we have his son Solomon coming in. The achievement also, he failed. There are some things he did, but to make it more important, remember also it's Solomon who realizes one of the promises God gave to David, that your son will be the one to build for me the temple. Then that one brings us to the importance of the temple in Israel, because Solomon was the one who built that one there. Then after finishing that, the temple in Israel, remember again, Solomon died. There were two possibilities of Rehoboam and Jeroboam taking over, and people were thinking his son Rehoboam will be the one to take over. But when the elders went to him, you know what Rehoboam told the elders, and the information did not augur well with them, and that's why they went to wait for Jeroboam to lead the people. So we talk about the division of Israel into two. That is the schism in Israel, or the division of Israel. Factors leading into the division. Make sure you take the learners through. But as we proceed, we'll be talking about those factors later. But for now, is the synopsis of what is found in paper 1 and also in paper 2 in each question. So factors leading to the division of Israel. Then after now, it was divided. We see the element of idolatry coming in Israel. Again, we talk about the effect of idolatry in Israel, which is sin again. Then later we talk about another chapter, loyalty to God. Here the main character is none other than Elijah himself. So we start with the characteristics of the Canaanite religion. You give all those characteristics, then we see idolatry again continuing until God sent Elijah to call for the contest at Mount. As the contest at Mount Carmel, we see describe the contest at Mount Carmel, that one there. After the contest at Mount Carmel, again, we have the issue of corruption, where Naboth's vineyard was taken away, but the student need to read the story, know the commandments which are broken in that story. Then relevance of the leadership of Elijah to the Christians today. That will be question number 3. Question number 4 is tested from 2 areas. One of the areas where question number 4 is tested in paper 1, it is you come to writing a prophetic message. That's a chapter which is found in form 3. Here you talk about the categories of the prophets, characteristics of the prophets in the Old Testament, characteristics of the prophet, the false and the true prophets. Again, you have to know about that one there. Then again, we come to Amos. Most of the teachers, I know they call Amos as the father of social justice. So it's good to know the background of Amos. That is religious background, political background. We need to know those backgrounds there. Then we talk about the call of Amos during that time, because his call is in form of the visions. You have to know all those visions that were experienced during that time. But when you're taking the learners through here, don't forget to tell them there. The visions are 5, but in the first 2, like the vision of fire, where Amos was seeing the fire consuming the land and the people are consumed, he pleaded to God to forgive Israel, because he said Jacob doesn't deserve this one. Jacob is too small for this. And then God responded by not sending the fire down to the people of Israel, because here Amos intervened. And again, when you look at the second vision of the locust, remember Israel come from the time of the drought, and people are looking forward for that harvest, like it was so plenty, they're looking for it. And then Amos intervened here and told God, no, Jacob doesn't deserve that one. And they remember it didn't come, and because Amos intervened. Those are the two incidences only where we are seeing Amos intervening, and then God relented the punishment. So the students should know the first two. Amos intervened and God relented the punishment. But now from the vision number 3 up to 5, that's the vision of the plumb line or the crooked wall here. God told Amos, I've seen the crookedness of the people, Amos. And then here God was like, yes, that's true, but what can we do then? In this case here, Amos kept quiet and the punishment was inevitable. It was to happen during this. And also the destruction of the altar, we see again Amos keeping quiet because, and also the vision of the basket, again there we see Amos didn't intervene there. So after finishing that one, now you come to the teachings of Amos. We start with the first one there, social injustices. There, take the learners through to see some of the injustices the people of Israel underwent through during that time. Those things that Amos condemned, tell them there. And again, as Christians, we need to come in. What can we do to ensure there is social justice in the society today? Because what we see there, we have to bring it to our society and also see how we can improve our society again there. Then again, we have the remnant and the restoration. We have another teaching, the election in Israel there. See the day of the Lord, what the people are waiting for there. After finishing that one, that marks the end of question number 4. In number 4, it only comes from the writing of the prophetic message and also Amos. So if you cover those two areas, in fact, this is the question I tell the students, don't leave this question because chapters are too small. The content is too small. You have to grasp it and give your best in an exam there. Question number 5, again in paper 1, it is set from two characters. That is Jeremiah. Jeremiah also, it's wide. Jeremiah falls under the category of the major prophets, as we had said in the previous video there. And because he's now a major prophet, remember his content to be so wide. That's why it's divided almost into 3 subsections for you to finish Jeremiah. From those backgrounds, political, social, economic background of Jeremiah, you need to know all those things there. After knowing all those things there, then the call of Jeremiah, remember, was too young, then he was not hesitant to accept God's call, but God told Jeremiah, I knew from the time you are formed in your mother's womb. So if in that case, in fact, he told him, I will give the words to speak to you. In fact, he puts those words in his mouth. And then Jeremiah now is told, he gives him courage and told him there to be strong because it made him the pillar of bronze and iron. Means nobody's going to mess around with Jeremiah. So the work starts there. We have those evils which he condemned. Necromancy, human sacrifice, false prophecy, idolatry, those 5, they're the major main evils there, and the learners must know in each of them what the reasons why Jeremiah was against all those evils. So he was against human sacrifice, reasons why he was against idolatry, reasons why he was against necromancy. He has to know those evils, what takes place there. Then again, now we come to the temple sermon. Temple sermon was given. Jeremiah was told to go there because these are the places where people could gather together to listen to God. And he knew this is the perfect place where I can get the people. And there are those evils which were condemned during the temple sermon. I think last year's KCC, that was question number 5B. You can see that question was said there. But it has an acronym, FISHED, like FISSHED. So from false hope and going down to dishonesty down there, you can see those evils which were condemned there. Then you go ahead from that case there, we have symbolic acts related to judgment and punishment. Not all those things. Sometimes they can say explain for or list some of them. Then many of them there, make sure the learners are aware what takes place in each of them. So after all doing all those things there, we talk about, if you go through by KLP, it talks about the fall of Jerusalem. That's now Jeremiah chapter 29 years from what happened, how the city was invaded, how they ran away, how Zedekiah together with the nobles ran, and how they were captured and taken to Riblah, where Nebuchadnezzar was, through using the Nebuzaradan, and that's what happened there. And the Jeremiah, during that time there, Zedekiah's sons were brought and they were killed in the presence of Zedekiah. And Zedekiah himself, his two eyes were gouged, so he was taken as a slave to Babylon together with the nobles, but the poor of the land remained, that they didn't go. We'll see there later. Those who remained, were they in good morals, or there is something they did there? Because the time of Nehemiah is told, it gave rise to another community called the Samaritans, the intermarriage between the two. And I remember in the time of Moses, that is what was discouraged, but people went on to do what was abominable in the sight of the Lord. That's when Nehemiah is fighting that one later. We'll talk about that one later there. Then again, after, characteristics of the true prophet, sometimes they give hope. That's how we have the symbolic acts related to hope. Like now, one of them, Jeremiah's letter to the exile, it has a lot of hope there. He's telling them, marry your sons and daughters and increase in number. Pray for the welfare of that nation there. Don't listen to the false prophets, because they know what they listen to, and at the end of the day, they found themselves in a land which was not theirs there. And again, they're told, I like it, the last down there, that after 70 years are over, God will bring them. Surely we see them coming out of that one there. So that is the letter to the exile again. Another hope is the purchase of the land. Purchasing the land is an element to show that surely God was with them. And also using Jeremiah to purchase, showing that he'll come at the end of the day. We have the significance or the importance of purchasing the land. Let the learners also go through the reasons or the importance of purchasing that land. It has a very good significance. Then we talk about another hope is the covenant, the characteristics of the new covenant. Last year, KCC, again, number 5, that question was set, and the learners were told to outline the characteristics of the covenant. Unlike the previous covenant, which was written in the stone tablets, this one will be written in people's hearts. In the first one, we see sins were forgiven, but remember, this time their sins will be forgiven and remembered no more. We'll be having spontaneous forgiveness of sins. And again, it will be like if somebody sins, it will be individual who have sinned, not the community, because people suffered as a community. If one person has missed, the whole community was in for it. But now, with the coming of the new covenant, as foreseen by Nehemiah, things were different. Again, in question number 5, we have another chapter, which is the chapter of Nehemiah. Nehemiah has been known as the man who prayed a lot. You can agree from the background, social, what was happening there. When they went to the exile, because he had the religious background, we look at the things which they observed while in exile there. They composed those psalms, they were singing, using them there. Circumcision, they didn't forget about that one there. Reading from the book of Leviticus, Deuteronomy, like they gave them hope, and they were referring to those scriptures, knowing one day we will come back again. So we start from the occasions when Nehemiah prayed. Remember when that information reached, and then asking his brethren, how is the city? And the information Nehemiah is getting there, the city, the walls were in ruins. He cried, he wept, he prayed when he learned about the destruction there, before asking the permission from King Artaxerxes. One, my friend, this man was like, God, surely I know, go before me. Even another, when he did good things like helping those who are in need, again he prayed. When he reorganized the temple liturgy, again he prayed. And so many occasions there he prayed. Even building of the world, that is something the learners needs to know. Importance of prayer, so nice. Learners need to know why. What is the importance of prayer to the Christians? You need to know that it even makes us closer to God. Like, it makes us to be forgiven our sins. to demonstrate our faith in God. When you pray, it's like it is there. Then after now doing all those things there, we have the problems that Nehemiah encountered during his work. There are so many, like observing of the Sabbath. Remember, people were selling and buying, lack of cooperation. Again, you are seeing it during that time, oppression of the poor, something that Nehemiah didn't like, and so many of them there. And after now going through those things there, we talk about the quality, leadership qualities from Nehemiah that he demonstrated: love, talk, compassion, courageous, good organizational skills, among so many qualities. Is that what you can get from Nehemiah? Then now, after finishing that one there, we come to the restoration of the Jewish community. Then we talk about the reforms that Nehemiah initiated there. Those reforms, even that one of observing the Sabbath, you have to look at what was said previously there. What did Nehemiah do to make people to observe the Sabbath? Like, let me tell you one there. Him closing the gate, commanding the gate to be closed on the Sabbath day is one of the initiative which Nehemiah took to ensure that the Sabbath was observed. Not only that one there, he put his personal guard at the gate there. He called the Levites, those are the priests, to cleanse themselves and to come and guard him, so that you can make the Sabbath day holy again. In fact, he even warned them, if I see anyone leaning on the walls, I lay hands on you. He threatens them to beat them if they continued to do that one. And the worst is the first one, where he told them there, he reminded them what their forefathers did and how they found themselves in a foreign land. In fact, I think he tried to make sure the Sabbath was observed well. And then you look at that one there, you continue now, dedication of the walls of Jerusalem there, the renewal of the covenant there, and then the conditions which were given, they're there outlined. That dedication, the learners should know it. And continuing, we see the similarities between Nehemiah and Jesus Christ. There's some things which are similar amongst them. Then now the last question in paper 1, it is African traditional religious heritage, ATR. That is what many students run away from. But according to me, this is one of the easiest questions. If I was to be asked there, if learners which one should they go to there? Me, I think question 6 is so easy, because in the first case, when you look at, we're starting there, things like attributes of God as understood by African people, the hierarchy of beings from the top God, like uh, how does the student miss that question there? The role of God, the role of the Spirit, the role of the ancestors, the responsibilities of the living towards God. It should be covered well there. The areas of worship in traditional African societies there, again, it is something which the learners needs to know. Then again, we come to the kinship, importance of kinship there, factors leading to the weakening of kinship. Today, you see things are not. Then we start from the rites of passage, from birth, naming, initiation, and after initiation we go to marriage and then death. And every rite of passage, it has, like now in birth, before birth there is the regulations which expectant mothers were to observe, which has been said, I think, like 3 times in KCSE. The learner should know what should uh, expectant mother do. Like, you don't involve yourself in strenuous activities like splitting of firewood there. The mother goes back to the mother so that she can take care if when she delivers. That's the reason you give there. Exempt from taking some food like proteinous food, eggs, so that when during delivery the child cannot give the problems among others there. How names were given in traditional African societies there, learners needs to know. And in every rite of passage, we need to have the morals inculcated in every rite of passage, like importance of initiation. Uh, remember that's a question which has been said. Then what are the moral values inculcated in initiation, like courage, perseverance, there is unity, harmonious. Those are the things which the learner should know in that question. Then apart from the rites of passage, we talk about birth, we have named reasons for marriage, how marriage was organized in traditional African societies there. Then now we come to death, why death was feared in traditional African society. Death is most feared in traditional African society because sometimes it comes unannounced, no one knows life after death. It causes disharmony in the family because mtu akikufanga saa ingine mnaekela mtu mwingine amemroga, maybe nyinyi ndio mlifanya akakufa, so it causes some conflict among the family members. It comes with some impurities because we have to go through so many rituals to make it right there, because some homes you have to break the rooftop, that thing kama when African wafunze hiyo kitu. Then again wife inheritance comes. So many rituals which are involved there. Then again it reveals the true character of a person. If you are ulikuwa mtu mchoyo, hapo ndio tunachonga ulikuwa mtu mchoyo in the society there. So that is what we need to know there. Now after those rites of passage, we have now what you call a specialist, from rainmakers, the priest, those blacksmith, diviners. We need to know their roles and some stages, their elders. We know the reasons why elders are not respected today. Again, should be covered in that area. Why is traditional medicine not recognized today? What are the factors leading to the diminishing of those medicine in the modern society? Like these days, we don't have the people to show us there. With the coming of hospitals, there are now drugs can be administered. Look at the forest declining or diminishing of traditional herbs. They're no longer there. So we need to know in those areas why those things are there. Then now we come to continuity and change. We look at how do we see the community today, the old people, land, changes taking place in property ownership. It is something there. Factors that determine the mode of dressing traditional African society there. We have the changes that are taken place in the concept of the bridal. The same way, the same way the bridal was given traditional African society, it's not the same way they are given today. So we have to know those things there. And because like today they have commercialized bridal, it's not like those days there. So those are the areas which the learner needs to focus on in paper 1. I think with that one there, I'll take you through in our next video what is said in paper 2. Thank you so much. Continue subscribing and knowing when the next video comes in. Tap the sharing, subscribing there, and then you'll continue. Have a nice, blessed day ahead, and I wish you all the